After doing the burnout video where the front tires were moved to the back and the back tires were moved to the front, the camera was pointing on the rear wheels and you could see how the runout on the rim was so bad that it was making the tire look like this. And we just thought it was the outside lip because, you know, the car had been through a few ditches. And we just thought it was the outside lip. But probably upon impact, this whole thing must have gotten moved. And he didn't like that, so he bought some brand new weld wheels. Those are made out of aluminum. These are steel. And if you put the two together, you'll see that these are taller, they're wider, they got stickier compound, so traction should be a lot better. But when we weighed them, we thought they were going to be a lot different. But this is so much smaller, but made with steel, that when we weighed them, they're actually the same. So this is the steel rim that's smaller with a shorter tire and weighs 45.2 pounds. So there's 45.2. It's a 15-inch rim, bigger circumference, fatter rubber, it's wider, and you have the same weight as the little steel wheel. One tire is mounted right now, and when we talked about this with the suspension when we were doing the leaf springs, and you see how the leaf spring shackles move to the back, it's not a problem. This is the place where this is as far as you could go. I can fit my finger in between here, and it's got the right distance, so even if it did fly over a jump and the suspension majorly went down, we were bouncing on it. It would take a lot to get this body to come down that far. Never wrong. Oh, and it's close. The back spacing is correct too, so it's real close to the leaf spring. I think later on you're going to have a camera underneath and show the suspension, how this thing's going to react when it really tries to bite. And then we'll see what we can do with suspension changes. So there is a tool that you can buy if you had a shop and you were doing this all the time, that you'd bolt up just like a regular rim, and then it's adjustable and you can move out the width of the rim, but then you always got to plan on the bulge of the tire. So you'd have to look up your distances when you'd spin this little tool around and see how far you can go before you're hitting whatever's in the way. This was our limiting factor right here, and a leaf spring on the back side. And some people have wheel wells with like shock mounts or something, but this is totally clear in the back. And then you got to worry about from the center flange out to here. And it's easy if you just hang a plumb bob and use a ruler and you come up with your measurements, because these are a deal where once they're mounted and they send them to you, they don't take them back. So you got to do your math. So if you already have a set of rims and tires on your car and you can measure, you know, with a straight edge going down, and you're going to the surface where it's going to be bolting up to your either brake drum or rotor, you can calculate the backspace that you have. So if you still got like this much area back there, give yourself like an inch, because you know you're going to be sliding around corners or whatever. You don't want your tires grinding on either the outside sheet metal or the inside suspension pieces or wheel well. So give yourself a space, you know, on either side. But if you're starting off with a rim already and you can calculate how much more you want, and the diameter, some guys want smaller tires because they got too high a gearing. Let's say you're at the end of the strip and your engine's not even in the area where you're making power. Well, then a cheap way to gear your car down would be to have smaller tires. If you've already changed the gears and she's buzzing pretty good on the freeway and you want to reduce RPM, go with a taller tire. What we're doing right now while the wheel is off and we had the other side already done, anything that it was hanging down, chopping these all off. So when somebody sees the car from underneath, they don't see these long bolts hanging down. It'll look much cleaner. So first off, I gotta say, having a painted rear end, having this cover, the exhaust all up tight, and the gas tank painted, everything looks nice now underneath. So if somebody's following you and you just trimmed off all the bolts and stuff, it's gonna look really clean from behind. And we were gonna tell you about this space right here. You really do wanna have like about an inch here, because if you're sliding around and you're gonna get tire flex, you wouldn't want it getting hacked up on a leaf spring. So you do have to have clearance. He went as much as he could possibly do. The next thing that, you know, the people that want to put really big rubber underneath their cars, they eliminate these, move brackets, and he wants to keep this all stock. And that's the limiting factor. I mean, you can see the rails up there. You could get more tire, but this is what you're gonna run into. This is as big a tire as he could possibly fit on. On the side of this tire, it says P275, that's millimeters, and 50 series on a 15, R15 means radial, and it's a 15-inch rim. So when it's 50 series, this is what I always figured, it's supposed to be 50% the width of the tire. When you measure this, they say 10.8, but it's like, I'll go like this. And you're getting 10 3/4, and then if you measure up to the bead, then you get 5 3/8, that's half. That's what I always thought it was. Right now I'm just measuring the track width, so if anybody else is going to be buying a set of tires for their Javelin, this is already figured out. And if they did any other modifications or whatever, we just have a stock body. What are you coming up with?
To the outside?
Yeah.
70?
70 inches is our track width. And this is a stock rear end width, and this is the fattest tire we could put on it. Like I said, just a little space here. It's not going to hit the wheel well. Just so if anybody doesn't want to go through all this measuring, the rim is got to have, you know, the right backspace. What was it?
4.5 inch backspace
4.5 inch backspace
on an 8-inch rim.
8-inch rim. So these leaf springs are stock. It's not lowered at all. Everything's stock, and we're gonna just jounce the suspension just to see how we don't have to worry about tires getting hacked up. Now, remember we talked about this, when there were no shocks on it, you could take the thing and just go boing, 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 when we were showing you how the rear end had to clearance the fuel tank. But once you put shocks on there, and you just bought regular Monroe shocks or something, nothing fancy, but this thing rides really great. It's like a new car. So the next situation that is going to happen is, you know, buying front tires to match. And the limiting factors of what we're going to talk about, how you can figure out what size tire you can go with and what we got to worry about running into. So the trunnion is the part that, you know, you got the pivot point here, and then where the spring starts is really close to the tire. So I'm going to shine a light on it, and he's going to show you, and that's our limiting factor for how much backspace we can put on this rim and what you run into here and up there. Okay, you're going to go from that side. Well, you can see where we're almost hitting that trunnion already. So if we had a taller tire, it would be gouging into here. So another thing to do is just find out what other guys bought for rims and tires and what worked, if they had to do any kind of modification, because you always want to get the fattest tire that you can get. It looks cooler. You want the tallest tire to fill up these big wheel wells.
Something else you can do when you're picking out tires is online there are tire calculators that'll do tire comparisons. You punch in the numbers, like for this, for instance, was 275, 50, 15. So I punched that in, and I punched in 235, 60, 14, what was in there, and it shows the side-by-side comparison of the tires, and it tells what the width is. So you can get an idea of what you can fit on your car.
So whenever you come up from behind a car and you see fat tires and, you know, big exhaust pipe and a rear end showing and the shape of the car looks cool, then you're just wishing the guy would burn out in front of you. If you see a car with skinny little wheels, like my buddy's Dodge Charger, it had skinny little wheels, and they're huge, cavernous wheel wells. He ended up putting N50s. And the car looked like a whole different machine after you put fat tires on it. Yeah, it's a lot of money when you end up buying rims and tires, but it makes the car.